Squeaky brakes. I just washed this bike off because I want to show you the parts that are on it and do a bit of a bike check.
A big thanks to my sponsors, Ibis Cycles, Kitspo Cycling Apparel, Cali Protectives, Trust Performance, PNW Components, WTB, Industry 9, Shimano, and Jensen USA. Any purchases from the below links at Jensen USA will directly help support my channel as well.
If you're new here, my name's Jeff Kendall-Weed. I'm all about the Local Loam series, which visits cool advocacy groups that build awesome communities through killer trails.
Get a feeling of stoke from being in my town and like seeing all the rad stuff here.
Thank you. I started to get to know Catherine a little bit.
I just posted the 4th episode from Kamloops, BC. You can see that right here. And it's also probably the last episode where I'll be riding this red Ibis HD4. I've loved this bike. This thing's super fun. Let's do a quick bike check about what makes this thing so special. Moving forwards, I'll probably be on my new Ripley for the other upcoming episodes. And my pelvis, which I broke about 8 weeks ago, is finally feeling a bit better so we can actually pedal around the trails with a smile on our faces. Real quick administrative heads up, I just got these sweet JKW hats in the mail. They are rad, and they're available at the Teespring shelf just below the YouTube video right here on this page. Let's hit the trails and go over what makes this bike so special. Let's do it.
Well, I'd say this looks like a great place to talk about the most important part of the bike, and that's the frame.
This is a 2017 Ibis HD4. Now I say 2017 because I first received a red HD4 in 2017, and as far as I know, the frame hasn't changed one bit. This is the same design Ibis is still selling today. And honestly, I see nothing wrong with this bike. If you're in the US, I'm 5'8", and if you're abroad, then I'm 174 centimeters tall. This means the size medium bike fits me really well. That said, if I was still racing, I'd probably be on a large. This bike used to have 154 millimeters of travel. Used to. That's an important term here. I really wanted to use the Trust Performance message fork up front, which is only 130 millimeters of travel. The stock setup on the HD4 with 154 millimeters of travel would have been quite imbalanced. I also have an Ibis Mojo 3. It turns out the Mojo 3 and the HD4 both use the same eye-to-eye length shocks. However, the Mojo 3 shock has an internal limiter that limits the stroke down by 1/4 of an inch. With that shock installed on the HD4, the bike bottoms out a little bit before it would with the stock setup. This means I've limited down the rear travel to only about 136 millimeters. One quick side note, Ibis does not condone this type of tinkering with their frames, and this voids the warranty, so don't try this at home. Speaking of the Trust Performance message fork, this is it. I've been riding it since February of this year, and I generally like it a lot. So why is the message fork so special? On this fork, the offset, the distance the front axle sticks out from the center line of the head tube, it gets reduced as the fork cycles through the travel. I did another video all about the Trust fork, but with that reduction in fork offset, the trail measurement is able to correspondingly get bigger as the bike bottoms out in its travel and gets a steeper head angle. This means the stability of the front end is the same at the top of the travel as at the bottom out, whereas on a normal fork, that mechanical trail measurement gets cut by 50% due to the steepening head angle and the same amount of offset. This particular fork is quite a bit shorter travel than the stock 160 unit the bike came with, but I've really been enjoying trying something different and very new. Attaching that fork to my bike is the Cane Creek 110 series tapered headset. I'm an aggressive rider, I tend to destroy headsets, and the 110 series have never let me down. Let's keep riding, but then let's take a moment to chat about the wheels. All year long, I've been running the same Ibis 742 wheel set, built up by Industry 9 using the Hydra hub set and the rad alloy Industry 9 spokes. I've done a bunch of videos about my favorite tires. I use WTB brand tires, Vigilante 2.5 TCS tough high grip in the front, super burly, very sticky, and I use a WTB Judge 2.4 TCS tough fast rolling in the back. Quite sticky, very aggressive, but not so sticky that it's slow rolling. I love that setup. I have not been using any kind of tire inserts on this particular bike. I wanted to keep the bike as light as I could. That said, this setup still weighs 33 pounds, so. I feel like it would have been a lot cooler if the front tire came off the ledge and the rear tire didn't touch it. So let's try again. Oh. People ask me all the time, what kind of brakes do I use? I think I have a trials background, which is kind of funny because I don't. I just use regular enduro brakes, Shimano XT 4-piston M8020. I set them up as aggressively as I can, so I use metallic sintered pads as opposed to the organic ones. .180 rotors front and rear, just so I can carry one spare rotor on my trips, and if I break something, I know they're interchangeable. I'm using a P&W Components Range handlebar. It's a Kyle Warner signature bar. I'm using the Range 45mm stem, and I'm using the Bachelor 170 dropper post, all with the P&W Components Loam lever. I've got a 170 seat post and probably room for over 200 on this medium-sized frame. 170 might sound like a lot of drop, but for me, I often wish I had one of those 200mm dropper posts. Hopefully, one will land in my mailbox soon, fingers crossed. I've been riding the Shimano XT M8000 parts for about a year now, and I really like them. I'm using a 34 tooth front chainring with an 1146 rear cassette, and that gear ratio is so good on the tech climbs. I've been really happy with it. You guys probably saw my Ripley has the new XTR 12-speed, and I'm excited to try some of the other 12-speed parts too, but when I hop back on this red HD4, I still really like that XT 11-speed stuff. I love this little red bike. It can do so many things, and in reality, there's not many legal trails where I want something bigger than this short travel 27.5 setup. I have links in the YouTube description below to the full spec of this bike, and all those links take you to Jensen USA. They made this Local Loam series possible, so huge thanks to the guys at Jensen. I'm a little nervous. The rest of the summer's looking super busy with a jam-packed travel schedule, but my pelvis is feeling better, and I'm more excited than ever to bring you with me on some cool adventures, to meet some rad advocacy folk, and to check out some killer trail. If you like this video and you see that little red subscribe button down there, do me a favor, click that subscribe button, check out the JKW merch on the shelf below, and I'll see you guys on the trails.